Hello, everybody. How you doing on this Thanksgiving Eve? I'm Joel Kaplan. I'm the Associate Dean for grad programs. And I'm glad you could join us tonight. It's going to snow a few inches here, but that's probably the only snow we'll have for the entire season. So nothing to worry about there. I see some familiar names and faces that people have been in some of these virtual open houses, and a couple of you might even been in the in-person one that we had. So that's great. I have like 10 of my best friends right here from all over the country. And they're our current students. And so what we're doing here is just give you an opportunity to hear from our current students. And I'm going to ask them all basically the same question. Usually I spring it on them, but this time I had to give them advance notice because we're on Zoom. So I'm going to ask them where they're from, and most of them are in those places right now, where they went undergraduate, where else they might have applied to besides Newhouse, why did they decide on Newhouse, and I'll ask them to talk a little bit about the boot camp experience, which is true for all of our programs except for our media studies program, because they start in the fall. And then I'm going to ask them what's the best thing so far about the program and the worst thing so far. So all of them are very close to the halfway point of their program, which is boot camp in the fall semester. And then most of them have a spring semester and a capstone. BDJ has an extra 6 weeks, and public diplomacy, they spend their last semester, which is fall a year from now in Washington, D.C. So I'll start with my friend Katie. And actually, she is my friend because she is the GA in our office. So let me know if you need me to ask you any, remind you of the questions or not.
Sure thing. So hello, everyone. My name is Katie Kiesling. I am in the Goldring Arts, Journalism, and Communications program here at Newhouse. I am from, I like to say, the farm fields of South Jersey, which is where I am currently. And I went to Rowan University in Glassboro, New Jersey for my undergrad. I double majored in theater and dance there, spent some time working, and then came back to grad school. I looked at a few other places, but ultimately I only applied to Newhouse, mostly because they're like one of the only arts journalism programs in the country. And I really liked that I could tailor the curriculum using the electives to my interests. We go on a ton of awesome trips that really give us a real world experience. And I just kind of just fell in love with the program when I stumbled upon it. So there was no other place I really wanted to apply to. And then boot camp. Boot camp was a wild time. I had been out of school for 5 years, so it was a crash course in remembering how academia works. But it definitely whipped me into shape because I didn't come in with a journalism background. But after boot camp, I had published work. I had all the skills that I needed to make this semester super successful for me. So it was crazy. It was wild. I may or may not have slept, but it was definitely the way that I needed to kick off the program. And I think everyone will say that it was crazy, but it was definitely worth it. And then best and worst, was that the other question, Dean Kaplan? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
It's hard just to choose one best thing about the program. I will say I love, I mentioned briefly that we take trips. I love the trips that my program gets to go on just because it does give you that real world experience. Like we went to the New York Film Festival in October, and it was like a whirlwind weekend of seeing all of these shows and really living the critic life of, okay, you're going to see like 3 or 4 shows and movies in a day, and now you're going to bang out reviews about them. So I really appreciate getting that experience. And as far as worst, we're not allowed to say the weather. I really don't know what I would say is the worst part of the program. And that's like not me just trying to sell you on the program. It's genuinely been the career shift that I needed in my life, and like such an amazing program that I can't think of anything that's the worst. Is that a bad thing?
Well, you told me the worst part was trying to figure out what classes to take next semester because.
Oh my God, wait, yeah, that is, because it is only 1 year and you're going to want to take everything, and it's physically impossible to take everything. So yes, I would say that might be the worst part, at least for me personally, because I just want to take everything.
All right. Thanks, Katie. I appreciate it. All right, Kelly Morgan, you're up next.
Yes, that's me. Well, first of all, thank you guys so much for having me. It's great to see your faces. So I'm Kelly. I am a public diplomacy and global communications student. So basically that is a joint program. It's with Newhouse, so that's where it's housed, but it's also incorporates classes with the Maxwell School of Citizenship and Public Affairs. I am originally from Lawrence, Kansas. Go Jayhawks. And I got an undergrad degree in journalism with a co-major in international affairs. And I kind of like Katie, I've been out of school for a few years. So between undergrad in Kansas and grad school here, I moved around quite a bit and worked in China, Chile, Italy, Washington, D.C., and New York City. And the pandemic hit and I was like, oh, I really want to go back to grad school because that's always been a goal of mine. And I really wanted to further my career in that sense. So I started looking at different programs and was fortunate enough to kind of narrow my search down to Syracuse with the public diplomacy program, NYU, Columbia, and then a school in Taiwan because that makes sense with the rest of them. But ultimately, I decided to go to Syracuse for two main reasons. One, the network that Newhouse and Newhouse and Maxwell provide me is just unprecedented. It's amazing. And then also the level of skills that I gained from both of those schools. Newhouse with the communications and Maxwell with just the theoretical international affairs component. Honestly, when it came down to it, it was the best option for me. And thus far, I've been incredibly happy with my decision. And looking at what I experienced with boot camp, it was, again, to kind of harken back to the fact that I've been out of school for a while, it was definitely hard to get back into academia full time. Michael Spencer, I'm going to call you out. He was actually in one of my classes. So he was right there along with me as we jumped into it. But one of the highs just that I experienced in boot camp in the summer that has carried throughout this fall that I've really appreciated about the program with Newhouse is the culture that I've experienced with my classmates. I found that, again, it's a really rigorous course load, but the students who I'm learning alongside or with have been really supportive, and I'm very appreciative of that fact. And then I guess a low, if I'm going to use a cop out, but it has been difficult jumping back in from being in the workforce full time to being a full time student. So, like going from having a paycheck even to going and, I'm fortunate enough to have a GA position, but just not having that paycheck has been a bit of an adjustment. And also the fact that I am now rooting for the Syracuse basketball team and not the KU Jayhawks has been a bit of an adjustment as well, but we'll see what happens comes March.
Evidently, you're the reason we lost to Colgate then. Yeah.
I can neither confirm nor deny, but should KU and Syracuse have to battle each other later this season, I think I'll have to make a difficult decision at that time. But
well, we did beat you in the national championship game.
With Carmelo Anthony, and yes, I do remember that. And yes, that was
you were probably like 5, but I was like a full-grown adult. So
yeah, but I do remember that though. That was like very scarring. It was a very scarring moment. But yeah, thank you.
All right. Maya Abrams, you're next up.
All righty. Hi, everyone. My name is Maya Abrams, like he just said, and I am here representing Newhouse's Audio Arts graduate program. just giving a little bit of precursor, I got my undergraduate at the University of Miami. So I'm a very diehard Cane, kind of hard to contain. But yeah, so I just graduated in May of 2021, picked up an internship. And then while I was applying, other schools I applied to were NYU, Newhouse, like Syracuse, and then also applied again to just because with audio arts, I was looking for a major in the music industry, so like music business. And for those that may be interested in music or those that aren't, it's usually pretty difficult finding schools that have a well-developed program in music business or music industry. It's a new major that's coming up. Schools are just implementing programs for the actual industry and learning how to develop yourself at an executive level, teach you different segments. So it's sort of a new thing. And I actually found Syracuse on the top 20 music business schools list created by Billboard. And I think they were like top 5, like number 5, 6, or 7. So I definitely got my application in and I decided to come here. And it's honestly been one of the most radical but incredible decisions I ever made. Like no favoritism at all. I'm being completely honest. So that was a really cool change going from like sunny Miami up pretty close to Canada. And then moving to boot camp, actually, unlike our peers that took a break, I went straight from undergraduate, did 6 weeks of an internship with the Walt Disney Company, and then jumped right back into school. So it was kind of a weird transitioning, like moving out of Miami, moving back to Texas, and then moving up north. But it definitely taught me a lot about adversity, just because I would wake up, do 4 hours of my internship with ABC, go to class, do my classes with my classmates and with TRF, and then go straight to work, go back to class. So it taught me a really good work-life balance, a work-school balance, because I was starting this professional career sort of in a way, and then I was also still balancing school as well. But it was great to learn a little bit about broadcast to give me an advantage in the music industry, and also get to know my classmates and get to know my professors as well. And then just kind of talking about my experience with Newhouse, the best part, like everyone's been saying, that's pretty hard. It's been pretty awesome. But I would think really my faculty, I get to work with the most incredible people and they're so approachable. Like our heads, Todd Harriman, who is one of the best producers in the game, and Bill Weirdy, who used to be the former head of Billboard magazine. It's kind of crazy I could say that, but they are amazing. Other faculty that work with also the Bandier program, which is the undergrad music business program, are equally as amazing. And they just really take us in, because there's a small number of us, really like work with us whenever they can. They make so much time for us, and I'm just so grateful, because they've really built my confidence, not just like as a student, but as an individual, you know, trying to really jumpstart my career. And then the worst part, trying to think, I think because our program is sort of a split, we have half really people going into production, audio engineering, doing music for film, and then we have half music business people, and we both kind of have to trade off and learn the best of both worlds. So playing catch up on learning how to become like a lower level producer has been strenuous, but very much needed. You know, it'll be good when I have clients that are artists that I can like tell them I know what they're talking about when they're having trouble with like getting certain tracks in line or having trouble with songwriting per se. But that's my spiel. So thank you so much for having me. I feel really honored to be here.
Thanks, Maya. And what's interesting about actually the theory that we already discussed is that like the PD program, PD Global Communications, is split between Newhouse and Maxwell, and Maya, your program is split between Newhouse and VPA. And Katie, a lot of the arts journalism students take classes in their areas of choice. So they might go to the architecture school. I don't think anyone last year we had a couple of architects. I'm not sure this year we do, but they go to arts and sciences, or they could go to VPA taking film courses or whatever that they have there. So there's a lot of jointness amongst the grad programs at Newhouse. All right, Michael Spencer is up next. He also is a GA in our office, and we have a good time, don't we?
Yes, it is a fun work environment. I get to work with Katie and everyone, so that's nice. I'm Michael Spencer, so I'm from Las Vegas. I was recently in Las Vegas, but I just came back to Syracuse. And I went undergrad in my hometown, so I went to the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and I was a journalism major with a concentration in public relations, and I minored in family studies. what really brought me to Newhouse was actually a couple friends. I had them go to Newhouse undergrad, and when I was searching for my graduate program, I found it remarkably hard to find PR programs. A lot of the programs were more integrated communications, or they were more marketing focused. And so as I was just kind of talking around, I had a friend bring up that Newhouse most likely had the program I wanted. And then as soon as I checked like top 10 PR programs, Newhouse was constantly at the top. And so I went to one session about financial aid. I talked to some mentors in my program back home, and they all agreed that Syracuse was a great choice. I was looking at Northwestern and then my undergrad as well, but I completed the Syracuse application and got accepted about 5 or 6 months before the other applications closed. And so Newhouse was not only it wasn't a quick application process, but it was the first one up and then it started. So I was able to get back to school. I graduated in May. So I was able to get back to school and start boot camp before any of the other programs I looked at closed their applications. So I really enjoyed that. It felt like the quickest route to continue my education, but also the best route. There weren't any other one-year programs I personally saw. So yeah, Newhouse really called me in that regard. As far as boot camp, so like Kelly said, we had a class together. I think boot camp was really enjoyable. When you start over the summer, it's only grad students. And so I really got to know my cohort. Even my roommates, we all ended up having class together, and we were able to basically do all of our schoolwork together when we wanted to. And then I went to Newhouse events. We got to go to the zoo. And so I felt like the summer with boot camp was honestly one of the best parts. Though it was rigorous work, it was like having a large friend group and everyone knew what was going on. We all woke up, got to school around the same time. We all left at the same time. A lot of us had overlapping professors. You got to meet so many people passionate about different things. And so, yeah, that was the greatest part in my opinion. So I really did enjoy boot camp. And then I would say the worst part is actually the amount of opportunities. Sometimes I personally, like, I'll freeze up because I won't know what to apply to, or I'll feel like I'm missing out because everywhere you look, it's seeing something just opening or just closing. And they support you to pursue whatever you want, but sometimes having so many options is overwhelming. So whether that be going to the paper, getting an internship, getting a job, being in a club, I'm a GA, I'm in the Crisis Comm Club, and I've been looking at writing with the paper. And I feel like even with those 3 things, I'm missing out on quite literally hundreds of opportunities. Every Wednesday, they send us a list of internships and job opportunities. And so having to constantly pass up on things because it's either not the right time, it's really exhausting. It's like the worst case of academic FOMO ever because there's always something new and it'll be like really, really great opportunities. And sometimes it's things I've never even heard of. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like maybe I do want to go back into journalism, or maybe I want to work in television now. Like audio arts, I like IMI's program all the time. It looks so cool. I have a great interest in music. And so it's one of those things I didn't know it existed until I got here and saw the work that was being produced. I don't think oh, my program is PR. I was thinking like, oh, did I miss anything? PR, I think my favorite part about it is the faculty. I get to work with so many amazing professors, and the programs and the theories we kind of covered lightly in undergrad, I actually get to put into play. I have clients in my classes. And so I feel like I'm getting amazing work experience, and I'm also getting to really connect with my classmates, see how our different skills come together. And I've picked up so many interesting perspectives from other majors, and I get to see how they play into PR. My program is actually split into 2 cohorts, so usually I don't have a class larger than 11 or 12. And that really allows us to work together, but to also see like the different strengths in each other. So I really do like that. I really do enjoy working so closely with my professors and getting to see what my classmates are doing, because sometimes I'm pulled to other interests or other majors just by getting to work with someone.
All right, Michael, thanks so much. Alan, you're up next.
All right, my name is Alan. Some people call me Allie, so either one is fine. I am from a city just like 45 minutes from St. Louis, and that's where I'm calling in from now. I did my undergrad at Drake University in Des Moines, and while I was there, I majored in advertising and English, and I took a minor in graphic design. I just graduated there in May, and I only applied to Syracuse because I was just thinking that if I was going to go to grad school, it had to be the perfect program, and this is the only one that really felt right for me. So I am a multimedia photography and design student here. Um, I'm on the design track. I think our program's maybe like 2/3 photography and then 1/3 design. Um, Boot camp was really cool. I've never learned so much in so little time. Since I have a design background, I came in not knowing much about photography. So I actually got to take the photography boot camp. And that was just really, really cool to be able to surround myself with faculty that knows so much about that kind of thing. And also just my fellow students, because some of them have been in the workforce for a while. So that was just a really neat experience. It was busy, it kept me busy, but I learned a lot and I'm really grateful for that. I think the best part of the experience so far has just been the resources and the classes and the faculty that's available to me because they're just world class and I didn't feel like I got all this hands-on experience before. And I think the worst part is probably just these hills. I've never been to somewhere that has all these hills in the heat. It was brutal and I don't know what it's going to be like in the winter, but I can't imagine it's ideal.
Well, we're no Des Moines, Iowa, that's for sure. All right. Thanks, Alan. All right. Next up is Nina.
Hello, I'm Nina. I'm from Los Angeles and I'm a TRF master's student, television, radio, film. I did not apply anywhere else. I looked at other places. I looked at NYU, but all the programs that I was looking at were like 2 or 3 years, and I knew I wanted a short program, but was still going to be like good quality. And I went to undergrad in Syracuse. I was a sociology major. So I knew of Newhouse's reputation and it seemed like everything I wanted, like something where I can like explore, because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do in film, but I knew I wanted to create my own stories and try a lot of different roles. So it definitely allows me to do that. And boot camp was a lot of fun, very intense. We had to do a screenwriting production class, a film, like critical film theory, and a pro seminar class. And it was really exciting. We created our own short film, learned about like film history, which is super important because you want to know what you're talking about and you want to know like what came before you. So I really enjoyed that. Best part about this program, I would say, is like basically like being able to create my own content. Just acted in it, and wrote it, my first short film. And it was really exciting because it was something I like thought about for years, but just like never was able to figure out how to do. And I was able to collaborate with people who like were good with audio and people who were good at cinematography, and like get everybody that was best at their craft and create this film. So it was super exciting. That's what I'm really excited about right now. And the worst part, I would definitely agree with Michael, like there's so much opportunity, like where I want to say yes to everything, but like I already have like, so like I'm IAing, which you guys will probably find out what that is, for 3 professors, and I'm interning at American High, which is a production company. And then there's more I want to add onto my plate, but it's just like, it's so much and there's so many resources and you want to take advantage of everything at this short period of time that you're here. So I think that's really hard. And then also like same thing with the classes. There's so many classes you want to take and it's really hard to pick, but it's all like good stuff.
Thanks, Nina. So for those of you who don't know, American High is, these guys bought a high school in north of Syracuse, and they've been doing, in fact, there's a huge article in the New York Times, I think yesterday, about, did you get to see it? About
Yeah,
American
I
High?
saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very cool. So,
Yeah, it's a great experience. I'm really enjoying it.
and actually my car, my automobile is going to be in one of these films, so I can't wait.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
okay. I'll look
Yeah,
out for
there you
it.
All right. Next up is Adriana. She's a little unusual in that she actually started in the summer of 2020, right? Yeah, 2020. Can't keep the
Yep.
years straight because she's a Newhouse Fellow. She's in, well, she can talk about being in the M&D program, but so she ended up staying an extra semester because she works at the Syracuse.com for part of what she was doing here. And she'll graduate in just a couple of weeks. Yay.
Oh God,
Yeah.
scary. Hi everyone, I'm Adriana and I'm originally from San Juan, Puerto Rico. And like Dean Kaplan said, so I'm a Newhouse Fellow. So within the MND program, which is Magazine and News and Digital Journalism program, there's 2 fellows selected every year. And it's typically minority students that don't come from a journalism background. So I majored in environmental science at UMass. The most I had done at a newspaper was translations, so 0 reporting experience. And the way the fellowship works is you come in with at boot camp with everybody else. But then when everybody graduates in May, the other fellow and I stick around an extra semester because we're working with Syracuse.com from January through December. And the final semester is almost, I wouldn't say full-time, but almost full-time with Syracuse.com. So that's been a fantastic experience because I'm working in an actual newsroom in the largest newspaper in central New York. I'm getting clips multiple times a week on a number of things, from profiles to arts reporting, government. I can pitch stuff from, like, I pitched a story about Hurricane Maria survivors that moved to Syracuse, and that got published. I also wrote about a grant that the city got. So you can really write about whatever you want in the MND program and as a fellow. So if anybody here qualifies for the fellowship, I suggest you look at it. Let me see, I've got my notes here. So I mentioned where I'm from, undergrad, I went to UMass Amherst. I applied to Northwestern, University of Miami, BU, Northeastern. I applied to like 12 schools because I'm over the top like that. But in the end, I picked Newhouse for 2 reasons. The fellowship, it was going to give me hands-on experience that I felt like I needed coming from a non-journalism background, and the Newhouse name. So at the time when I was applying, I was working on a Senate campaign, and I kept mentioning to my fellow communication staffers, like the different schools, and they all said, oh, Syracuse, like that's the obvious choice. So I felt like Newhouse just had a really big reputation within the communications industry. About boot camp, just prepare mentally. I felt like it was a very efficient use of my time, even though I did it virtually, and you guys will probably do it in person. I learned like 5 Adobe programs in 6 weeks, and I had never touched Premiere, never touched Photoshop, never done anything. Like, I was a science major, guys, never done anything like that, and I never thought I would. And I also did not think I would excel at it. So you might find something that you really enjoy, even if it sounds terrifying. I'm still using like all those programs. I use Adobe Premiere now every week because I'm in a broadcast class. So I felt like boot camp, you're gonna learn so much, even if it's stressful. What am I missing, Dean Kaplan? Oh, best and worst.
Yeah, and you have the whole perspective now of a year and a half. So let's hear it.
Yeah, I'd say the worst isn't necessarily tied to the program. It's more about like living in Syracuse. So I feel like finding housing in Syracuse has been tough for me. It depends how picky you are, but it's expensive. I moved from Boston and I pay the same as what I paid in Boston, which is hard to believe. In terms of the best part of the program, which I think it was Michael who mentioned this was the worst, but I think the opportunities, I agree though that it's very overwhelming. But just to give you guys an example, today, Dean Kaplan messaged me and was like, hey, I've got this contact at Newsweek. They're looking for fellows. You should apply, and told them I sent you, and tell them I sent you. And like 2 days ago, our broadcast professor reached out to me and was like, hey, this Utica station has openings, tell them we sent you. Like, it's just, if you develop good relationships with your professors, they're going to be your best friends, and they're going to be the best way for you to get a gig. I've done fellowships, internships in addition to Syracuse.com, and it's all been through professors. So can't complain about the faculty. And that's not just me, kissing butt here. I'm dead serious.
Well, thank you, Adriana. I guess that's a compliment, right?
I
All
mean
right.
it as a compliment.
All right, Shannon, you're up next.
Hi guys, I'm Shannon Bernoni. I'm from Long Island, New York. I went to SUNY Cortland, my undergrad. It's a state school in New York that nobody probably heard of, but it's only a half hour from Syracuse. So I like to go see my old teammates and friends. I only applied to Syracuse just because, oh, by the way, broadcast digital journalism is my major and I'm on the sports track. So I only applied to Syracuse because that's where the best sport journalists went. So I was like, I'm going to go there. So I put all my eggs in one basket the day that the application was due because I'm a procrastinator. And I got in, and thank God, because it's changed my life. I chose Newhouse because sports is like the main thing here. And I've had so many opportunities already with it. And then also the willingness of alumni to come back and help those who are coming after them is just unrivaled. And that's what really drew me. Like, even just like talking to you guys today, like I don't even have to graduate in order to like give back. So that makes me feel good. Boot camp, get ready. Boot camp is like a whole nother beast. I came in a little naive, like, undergrad, like I did really well. Like, this is going to be fine. And like first day, it was like, oh my gosh, like you can't procrastinate anymore. Like you gotta like work, but it was a lot of fun. I think I learned more in my 6 weeks at boot camp than I did in my undergrad. Different programs from undergrad and graduate school, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. You're going to make a lot of friends. These are the people that you're going to be with in the real world. So these relationships are amazing. And that's probably one of the best things about Newhouse is the relationships that you have with your peers and your mentors, your faculty. It's awesome. Also, the weather up here, I love the snow. So like, it's great. And plus fall up in like upstate New York is unrivaled anywhere. Like you've seen a tree, but you've never seen all these trees with all these leaves. It's so pretty. The worst thing is probably the opportunities. There's just so many, and it's hard not to compare yourself to what other people are doing. But you know what you want to do. You stay in your lane. Like I intern with Sports Illustrated right now in the Syracuse division, and I'm the first person to write about Syracuse cross country and track and field. So like, that's just one thing that I did, but other people are doing 1,000 different things. But you know what's best for you, and what happens to you is what it's meant to be. So don't compare yourself to anyone else and come to Newhouse.
All right. Thanks, Shannon. Next up, Kellen.
Hi, everyone. It's nice to be here. My name is Kellen Godfrey. I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's where I am now. I went to Bowling Green State University in Bowling Green, Ohio for my undergrad. My undergrad was in sport management and minored in marketing. And from there, I've actually worked in athletic communications the 3 years prior to coming to Newhouse. Essentially, like my experience during the pandemic made me want to really expand in, like, as a sports information director, you have to wear a lot of different hats. And I wanted to make sure I picked a grad program, in lieu of the pandemic, as it happened. I wanted to expand on these skills and grab what was necessary to potentially move out of the sports industry or get more knowledge before going back into it. Still kind of making that decision now, but I applied to a couple other general communications programs along with Newhouse, Ball State and University of Cincinnati. Heard from Newhouse pretty early on and pretty much committed instantly. Specifically, I'm in the new media management program, and which is different than those other two programs I applied to. It's essentially where they tried to essentially put you at the crossroads of media technology and, finance, benefiting yourself financially. So I've been learning a lot about, in the vein of all the new tech space and just really, really a lot of different areas that I could take my skills after this. And that's why I really want to choose Newhouse, because it was the best way to expand on what I'd been doing for the previous 3 years. As far as boot camp goes, I thought it was really, really enjoyable. In my track, we essentially read 4 full books in issues in media management over the 6 weeks. And there's things being done in this space that I had never even realized before. And it's really made me open my eyes to like what I could really do with this if I didn't necessarily want to return to athletics. I'd say the best part about my program is the way that everything, like all of my classes all help me with each of the other ones. Sometimes when you're an undergrad, like with gen ed stuff, it doesn't always apply to what your direct track is. But with new media management, like there are things that I'm learning in one class that have directly helped in others and stuff. And for me, probably my least favorite part has been specifically just one class. Like you have to take like an accounting course for non-accountants, and that's been pretty difficult. But what's been awesome is my cohorts and I have become so much closer. Those of us that are in that, we've become so much closer together and helping each other out with not just that class, but the other parts of the program that at times are challenging. So it really brings you close together.
All right, thanks, Cullen. And I think last but not least is Hallie.
Yes, hi guys. My name is Hallie Upshaw. I am representing the advertising program. So I am from Bentonville, Arkansas, and I went to the University of Missouri for my undergrad. My major was journalism. I emphasized in broadcast. Kind of wanted to change direction because when I was at the University of Missouri, I learned that I hated being in a newsroom. It's just not an environment that like I love. So I knew I wanted to kind of go in the direction of like maybe advertising, PR. So I'm in the advertising program here. I did apply to the University of Missouri's graduate program as well. But I think at some point I learned that like I wanted a change of pace and I just wanted to kind of go outside of something that I had been doing. I did 4 years at Mizzou. And I love Mizzou, but I was ready for like the next chapter, something new and a new challenge. So for me, that was Syracuse. I literally had a very, very smart mentor that said also like, to get a new network. She was like, you have a Mizzou network, you need to like expand your network and go somewhere else and do something different. So I really took that piece of advice to heart. And I always wanted to live in New York. It's not New York City, but it's upstate New York, and that's close enough for me. And so that's been a fun experience. But I would say, as far as boot camp goes, that was kind of a whirlwind. It's basically like I think someone mentioned it before, maybe Kelly, like a crash course before like you start your program. And I 100% agree with that. You learn as much as you can over the summer, and then you actually start doing stuff in the fall. Like you're doing stuff in the summer, but it's just like sped up like times 10. So you learn very quickly. So for advertising, we basically worked on a campaign for the duration of the summer, and then we presented to our clients, which was our professors. So that was a really, really fun experience. But then the fall starts and it's kind of the same thing, but longer. Like you have so much more time to work on the campaign and things like that. But I would say the best part of the program, I 100% think it's the people. Being from Arkansas, I knew people from Arkansas, and that was pretty much the extent of my friend group and the people that I knew. And then Missouri. But here it's like, I have friends from the West Coast. I have friends that are from Korea and Taiwan. And like, it's just so cool, the depths and the breadths of like people that are here. So that's probably my favorite part. And then I would say the worst part, I wouldn't say like worse, but I think in any grad program, the time is just really hard to figure out when you have time for classes and work and just a million things to do, but you figure it out. But yeah, that's kind of my spiel. So thank you guys.
Well, no, thank all of you. You guys were great. I mean, you followed the script and gave me good answers. So we're missing one, and that's David, and he's our media studies person. So all the people here are our professional programs. Our media studies is our academic program. It's our scholarly program. It doesn't start till the fall, and it lasts 1.5 years to 2 years because they do a thesis at the end. So they don't really have a boot camp. But again, many of them end up going on to PhD programs or doing research in other places. So if you have a specific question about me, says I can try to answer that myself, but hopefully nothing bad happened to him other than, so I told these guys, maybe he thinks it's next semester. I don't know. It's a little internal joke there. All right. If you have questions, which I'm sure you have, if you have specific questions for a specific student, great. If you just have one for all of them, that's great too. Why don't you just raise your hand, your little hand emoji, and I'll call on you, or we'll call on you. All right, I saw one and then he disappeared from me. Where'd he go? I think someone might have. Risha. Oh.
All right, thank you, Mr. Joe.
there you are.
You already know how I do it. So, greetings, everyone. My name is Rashawn Barksdale, a graduating senior from the Central State University, majoring in mass communication with a focus on broadcast media. And it's not more of a question, but it's just a comment. I just want to say thank you to all the current students that are attending at Newhouse to just share your story with us, to share just a little bit of your journey, to enlighten us about what it's like to be at Newhouse. So I just want to say thank you for telling to me and my future peers, and I'm looking forward to applying.
Great. Any other questions? Come on, this is a chance. There we go. Nina. No, that's a clap.
I was just
Sorry.
clapping.
Yeah, man. I'll get the Zoom thing sooner or later. There we go. Andrew.
All right, hello. My name's Andrew. I'm currently a senior studying sports media at High Point University, North Carolina. I'm looking at the broadcast and digital journalism program. And so, where are you? There you are. Question, of course, for Shannon as a student in the program. Hi. And also any other students would also like to jump in on this if you have something to say about it. But I'm mostly looking at a graduate school, not only to further my studies in the area of my undergrad education, but also to make some connections and meet some people that are going to be my connections to get me a job that'll get into the workforce and really set me on my career path. And so what kind of opportunities did Syracuse make, or did you make, or did you have that were really able to kind of kickstart or jumpstart your career while you were still in the program? And how did you benefit from that, and what did you do?
Nice question. So pretty much all the professors have either left the journalism business, they were all in newsrooms doing big things, or some of them are still actually in it. So they all bring their own experience and are able to write letters of recommendation for you when that time comes. I'm only 12 weeks into this fall semester, so we haven't started the job search yet, but it will start soon, I'm sure. Particularly with the sports communication track, Olivia Stomsky, Professor Stomsky, is in charge of that, and she's high up there in ESPN, and that's where I'd like to go. I'd like to go more towards the sports side of things. So in-house at Newhouse, Syracuse is the only school, I believe, and forgive me if I'm wrong, that broadcast D1 games out of the place. So there I've made connections with the producers and the directors at ACC Network, and I've been able to help direct D1 volleyball games. Just on Saturday, I field produced the men's basketball pre, post game, and halftime show that was shown on Qs.com and then ACC Network /ESPN. So just making connections with your professors who know everyone and anyone and more people that you could ever imagine. And then just making opportunities of your own, reaching out to other people. I hope that helped.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so the ACC network is all the ACC schools, but we're the only ones who actually do studio shows because we have the facilities to do that as of now. Allie.
Can I just quickly jump in?
Yep.
I am not a broadcast student, but I am taking a broadcast class. And I can say that just from the two professors I know that have taught me in my broadcast class, they've already sent like opportunities my way. Like 2 days ago, I got an opportunity about a station in Utica that they're suggesting that I apply to. So like even like I'm sure the broadcast students who are with all the professors like get even more of those opportunities, but I've seen like the BDJ program at work. And you're also constantly creating content. So you're gonna have a kick-ass reel. Like you're gonna have live shots, anchoring shots, packages to put together. And that's really important to then apply. So the opportunities are there, but it'll also like prepare you to apply to those opportunities, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Adriana. Allie.
Yes, hi. I just wanted to say thanks again for talking to us about your experiences. I'd say, I guess my question is more for Nina. Excuse me, sorry, because I'm also actually a senior right now at Syracuse, and I'm looking to apply to the multimedia photography and design program. But I was wondering if there was maybe something different about your experience having gone to Syracuse undergrad as well, that helped you along your way, or any other different types of connections or people to talk to about that, because or if there are any other students that you know were also applying Syracuse undergrad as well, because I'm not sure about the statistics about the rates with that, but yeah.
So that's to you, Nina, but looks like she's frozen.
Oh, yeah, I guess she is.
If you need me to jump in on that, I know that in the multimedia photography and design track that I'm in, there are 2 students that went to Syracuse for undergrad. And as far as I know, they're having a great time. They're taking classes they didn't get to take in undergrad. And I think they're taking like other things too that were new to them. I don't think either of them were photography majors in undergrad, but now they are. So.
Right. Yeah, I'm also kind of doing a similar thing. That's great. Thank you.
And Allie, just so you know, after getting these 2020, they started that Forever Orange program for people who were undergrads, and we had about 40 students who went directly from undergrad to Newhouse. That was in the middle of the pandemic, but they did it again last spring, and we have about 22, I think, this year. So, but we always get a large number who come directly from another school in Syracuse who then come here. And we don't have to talk to them about the weather because they already know.
Right, yeah.
I just wanted to add, oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Michael.
But in PA, we also have a few students who went to Syracuse undergrad, and they actually, the understanding of the campus helped them acclimate better, and they helped us acclimate as a cohort. They took us around, like showed us where to go, the best places to study, and they really helped fast track us into getting comfortable with campus. I'm sure if you've been here for 4 years, you already have ways in which you are, but coming over this summer, that was a big pro, and just having them around to help us know what to do on campus, how to get connected, talking with their old professors. The 2 students in my program were both in Maxwell, and so they transferred over both from political science, and their insight from that has actually been amazing. As someone, I came from a desert, so like I wasn't used to coming here whatsoever.
Nina's back. So did you hear the question?
I did not hear all of it. No, my connection was so bad.
Yeah.
No, sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Allie,
I was just gonna say, I was just saying how I'm also a senior studying at Syracuse, and I'm interested in the multimedia photography and design program. So I was wondering if there was anything about your experience that you thought would be relevant applying also at Syracuse undergrad.
Yeah, so after I graduated from Syracuse, I did not think I was gonna be back at all. Like I was like, I'm done. Like, especially coming from LA, like I just didn't think I was gonna be back in Syracuse. But it's totally different because well, it's been a while. Like I graduated in 2016, and then also it's way more like professional. Like you already had your like college experience, so you're not really like you're gonna meet friends that you're gonna collaborate with, but it's like more like professional, and it's a totally different experience, especially because I wasn't a new house either. There's so many resources and so many things that I didn't take advantage of enough, not being in new house. And so I don't know, it's a totally different experience. Yeah, but I really enjoyed it. What school are you in now?
I'm in VPA. My
Okay.
major, it's funny, my major is illustration, but I also minor in writing, design, and marketing. So I feel like this program kind of touches on all of those things. So I just wanted to kind of like bridge it over. And I also kind of felt like my time here, I didn't take advantage of all the resources. So I feel like if that's the theme, then that's like a really positive takeaway from it.
Yeah, and you also you know a little bit more about Syracuse and like how you like I know some people like don't even know some of the buildings or haven't even left Newhouse, and like being an undergrad here, it kind of like I knew how everything kind of works, and I was a little more comfortable, I guess, than some of my like other peers. So you kind of like you have a chance to kind of like reset and be like, okay, how am I going to do things differently? So I think you'll enjoy it.
And of course, the
Cool.
most
Thank you
important
so
thing
much.
is, the most important thing is, you know, where Wegmans is, which is, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah,
all right.
I'm definitely well acquainted.
Polina.
Hi, everyone. My name is Paulina, and I'm a senior at Syracuse as well. I'm a communication rhetorical studies major and linguistics major. Thank you, everyone, for being here. This is awesome. I feel like I've been to the 2 virtual sessions before, and I feel like I've learned twice as much as I've learned from professors, but it's awesome to hear from actual student experiences. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I am interested in BDJ programs. So Shannon, this question is going to be for you. Sports track as well, and I'm actually in the volleyball team. So you might have seen me playing. And is there any skill that you wish you were better at when you just entered grad school? Like, would you benefit from knowing how like Adobe Premiere works, or like is there any skill that you're like, I wish I knew that before so I wouldn't lose that much time like entering grad school?
That's also such a good question. I came in like knowing no terminology whatsoever. Like they just started throwing stuff at you like a SOT. I had no idea what that was. It's sound on tape. So kind of like knowing a little bit more about that, but they teach you that. You bring up Premiere. I had 2 seconds with Premiere at undergrad, and then COVID hit. So I barely knew Adobe Premiere as well. They also do a crash course on that that's very thorough and very long, that helps you. But if you know any Adobe Creative Cloud, Audition, we don't use Photoshop and BDJ, but just knowing that would definitely help. But yeah, kind of going in with an open mind too. Like I went in thinking I was going to be the Mets field reporter, and now that's like the last thing that I want to do. So just go in and be open-minded about learning everything.
Great, thanks. Ethan.
Everyone, my name's Ethan Sullivan. I'm originally from Colorado, but I went to New Mexico State University and graduated last May. I'm away from college now. Of course, I work for Michael Bennet, the senator here, and I like it, but just kind of looking to, I don't know, just kind of segue into my next thing eventually. And so I've kind of looked at the broadcast and digital journalism as well as the television, radio, and film one as well. Both those programs stand out to me within the school, and ones that I would like probably pursue if I were to get accepted and like come to Newhouse. And so yeah, and just wanted to thank everyone for all the insight about it, and I really enjoyed hearing about all the different programs and what's offered.
So I just want to tell you, Ethan, that Michael Bennett was my law school classmate, and I ran into him in New Hampshire when he was running for president and didn't do so well, but good guy.
Yeah, no, okay, that's cool. Yeah, no, No way. That's small world. And yeah, he jokes about that all the time.
Yeah, I bet he does.
His recurring joke with everybody is I ran like a largely forgotten about presidential debate. And everybody's just like, no, it's not quite true. But yeah.
Well, tell him I said hi, okay?
Oh, absolutely. Will
Okay.
do. That's super
All right.
cool. Yeah.
All right, Audrey.
Hi, I'm Audrey. I'm a senior at Sewanee, the University of the South in Tennessee, like near Chattanooga. So my question is also for Shannon, and I guess Adriana can maybe answer too. But I'm looking at the broadcast program, and I am someone who has never been in a newsroom before, though I grew up on and off the stage. And I predominantly have experience in print and digital journalism. So what would you say to someone who hasn't been in a newsroom? And what are some things that I should know before embarking on that adventure?
Shannon, you want to go?
Yeah, I'll do it, and then you got it. I came in with like no experience as well. Like I only had a couple of like things like put online through my undergrad. I had no like personal experience like on camera or anything. You probably have more because if you come from a theater background, like you know how to, you know, play it up for the camera and have fun with it. So I don't think you're gonna have any problem with that. Go ahead, Adriana, if you have anything.
Yeah, actually, this is really funny. So I was a choir / theater kid, and again, had never been in front of a camera, had never done broadcasts at a student station or anything. I learned everything at Newhouse, and I feel like that background really helped because I don't feel nervous about the aspect of being on stage or in front of a camera. So what I felt like I had more to learn about was like what a SOT is, how to write for television, how to produce a package, and that you will get within the broadcast program. I've gotten it just through broadcast electives I've taken. So if you're in the broadcast program, like you have nothing to worry about. I've even done the weather. So like you cover all the bases, and I've done that in one elective that I've taken. So I recommend it if you like the feeling of being on stage.
And Katie here is going to convince you that you should do arts journalism and cover theater, right, Katie?
Yeah, I was going to say, if you have an arts background, you should consider the arts journalism program too. We actually have a student now, his name is Gabriel, who took a broadcast class. I believe it might be the same one that Adriana's in, because he wants to report on the arts, but he's also very interested in doing so in front of the camera. And he was able to get that experience at Newhouse, even though the arts journalism and communications cohort is like technically considered one of like the writing intensive ones and not the on-screen ones. He was still able to get that opportunity. And I believe another AJ or Katie Hopsicker is looking to take a broadcast course next semester too, same thing, to get that experience. But another thing you learn in theater is just to roll with the punches. And that is like one of the biggest skills you can have coming into Newhouse. So I don't think you have anything to worry about.
So listen, we're kind of out of time, but first of all, I want to thank all our guests for coming, but I really want to thank our students because they're on vacation and they're taking time away from their vacation to yes, exactly, to come visit with us. So I really appreciate it now. And now they can get back to Monday Night Football. We do have another session set for December 2nd at night, where we're going to talk about the application process, financial aid, and how all of that works. But Michael, did you have a quick question that you want to? You sure? Okay,
that's fine. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
All right, good. And so Martha will be sending out the email if she hasn't already about the December 2nd thing. But again, thank you guys so much, all of you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. Martha, anything else you want to say?
Nope, you did a great job. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it was great.
We'll get the recording up as soon as we can.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Thanks again. Hope to see you soon. Hope to read your applications. Can't wait to see you guys next week. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving.